Good afternoon, folks. It's Freddie Vasquez. This is the lunch break news break. Chick-Fil-A must go, some residents say. Let's talk about the protest that happened this morning on Central Avenue.
Freddie wins.
I am Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Lunch break news break, February 6, 2023. Good afternoon, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. It's your lunch break, news break. It's nice weather out, right? Currently, the temperature is 48 degrees. It's going to be a high of 50. This morning, I was on Central Avenue and Roxbury for the protests that occurred this morning in regards to the Chick-Fil-A that they are proposing to put there on the corner. There used to be an HSBC bank there, closed down. It's been closed down for a while. So Chick-fil-A is looking to open up shop there and dish out some of its famous chicken sandwich. Very good chicken sandwiches, I might say. This morning at Councilman Merante led a group of protesters, right, from District 6 and 5 to stop a Chick-fil-A from being placed on the corner of Roxbury Road and Central Park Avenue. It's right across from the Crestwood Lake Apartments there. I'm not sure you're familiar with that area. First, let's get the obvious out, right? The chicken is amazing. It's great. And, most people say that. I don't think anyone's ever said the chicken was bad, right? And that's exactly what probably the problem is. Man, they make some bomb chicken. And while many people in New York have never had Chick-fil-A, those who have traveled in the Midwest and some parts of the South have enjoyed the chicken and know how good it is. However, they also know how long the lines get. Not just the lines on the inside, but the drive-through lines. And every Chick-fil-A is like that. Recently, we were coming back from a weekend getaway, and we stopped at a Chick-fil-A on the way back. And that was the longest lines in the whole rest stop. I mean, it looked like no one else wanted anything else but Chick-fil-A. And we waited, my wife and I, and the kids, we waited, and we got us some Chick-fil-A. And so we are also excited about having it come to the Roxbury Central Avenue area, but we also understand the concerns that residents have. Central Avenue has become more congested over the years, and Roxbury in particular and Central Avenue is a very congested area as it has a lot going on there. You have a fire station. You have a couple schools there that generate traffic from school buses, as well as other school buses coming from other schools that kids in the neighborhood may attend. And you have the residents going to and from work or wherever else they want to, go off to in their vehicles. And so now you're going to add the Chick-fil-A, which will have an exit probably on Roxbury Road. It's a 2-lane road that's already backed up in the mornings and afternoons. And now having traffic from the Chick-fil-A coming out of there is going to cause a huge problem. And residents are concerned that will create delays for them, having to get to work on time in the mornings. Now, how much longer will they have to wait? And I understand. I deal with a lot of that traffic as well myself. I don't live too far from the area, and it is very congested. There are a lot of school buses in the morning and in the afternoon. There's also the police station there. You have the first precinct, so you have a lot of cop cars traveling up Roxbury Road. And then you have Central Avenue. That's very busy with people who live in the area, people who are shopping or just commuting, through Central Avenue, maybe going to White Plains or Ardsley or somewhere north of Central Avenue, of Yonkers, I should say, right? So you're going to see an increased traffic, which there is already. And the people are not against Chick-fil-A. They say, we're not anti-Chick-fil-A. We just feel that maybe a better location could have been chosen. This is not exactly the ideal place. While there was a bank there, they said the bank had banking hours, right? Which many of us say is not enough. They don't open enough, right? And so they said the bank was open, but it would close after 5, and the weekends it would never open. So it never truly presented a problem for them. But they would imagine that the Chick-fil-A, with its long lines, which make it famous almost for the long lines, will be a huge, huge, huge problem. You know, a huge form of contention that they're gonna have to deal with there in terms of traffic. Not only the traffic, but residents who are literally next to the Chick-fil-A, right, literally on top of the Chick-fil-A, are concerned with the smell that they're going to have to deal with while the chicken is being made. And I'm sure that they are going to have to deal with all of that smell. I used to live near Popeyes years ago, and I can smell the chicken being cooked all the time. And while it was good, but after a while, it's just like, okay, you get tired of the chicken smell. They're concerned with any chemicals, grease, oils that and waste that will be, left as a result of the Chick-fil-A, will be produced as a result of the Chick-fil-A, and also, rodents, which is a very real concern. If you go on Tuckahoe Road, and I've showed video of this, the dumpster where the Dunkin' Donuts is, I mean, that's like rat central. I mean, they're not even afraid of people. They're not even afraid of cats. I have a video with a cat literally walking by. The cat was scared. There were so many rodents there. And so, will that be the same for people who, for the Chick-fil-A, and will the people of that neighborhood have to deal with rodents entering into their property? So, you have to understand why they would be upset about that. And speaking about Tuckahoe, if you've ever passed by Tuckahoe, afternoon, lunchtime, especially 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and you see the McDonald's there, the line from the drive-through, many times it will be backed out onto Tuckahoe Road. And so it creates congestion and a blockage on that right lane that starts many times at the ShopRite and it ends when you pass the McDonald's. Now that presents a problem. It builds up more traffic and it creates, potentials for accidents. Tuckahoe Road is a very dangerous road, as we know. That's where Officer of Detective Sergeant Frank Goldino was killed in that accident, because it's very congested. And while the young man was speeding, right, the congestion, the amount of traffic has created more problems for the people of Yonkers. It has produced more accidents here in the city of Yonkers. That's something I've noticed. We have more car accidents here in the city of Yonkers, as you saw today earlier. I happened to come upon one on Ashburton. So we're getting a lot more traffic, a lot more congestion, a lot more people, and it's really bothering folks, right? They say pay taxes. We bought houses here because we were promised peace. We have our kids here. We want to raise them here. We don't have to smell chicken and rodents and traffic and the dangers of cars. One of the kids could get hit. So they presented a lot of reasons why they opposed it. And so, I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I like the fact that Chick-fil-A is going to be here as a different option, because I'm tired of Chinese food, right, all the time, or McDonald's or pizza. It seems like that's the only choices you have here in the city of Yonkers. So Chick-fil-A presents a different option, maybe even a healthier option, right? And so I'm excited for it, but I'm also not looking forward to the increased traffic. And so I hope that they can figure something out in terms of, how they will do their drive-through. So maybe it does not cause a long line that will extend out into Central Avenue. Maybe they could find another location, right? And so Anthony Merante, I want to play, and excuse me for my finger being in the camera. I couldn't see the screen because of the sun, but I did speak to him a little bit. I just want to play that part there and hear what he had to say. Sorry again for my finger. Yeah, that's Joe Bear screaming the next one. Again, it's part in the finger. So, Anthony Merante says that, he was surprised because they initially had said that they weren't going to approve it due to the fact that it would present traffic problems. And then all of a sudden it was approved. And he says, I don't know if this is politics, shady politics. I mean, I would hate to think that because the people at the planning board, are pretty, good people, I guess, but listen, we know how Yonkers is. We know how it goes down here in the city of Yonkers. And he's speaking about those blue signs. They were not posted, which is why they got this new meeting that's happening February 8th. I forgot what time it is, but I did post or show it on the video there, and he says it also. But February 8th, a Wednesday, and I'll post it again. And he wants people to go there and, voice their opinions and concerns and to protest it. And hopefully maybe they'll get some reconsideration of the location and find somewhere else. And initially, I believe they were going to put one at the thruway at the rest stop that is now being redone. They just knocked it down and they're redoing it. And Michael Sabatino, and this was maybe about 2 years ago, was opposing it, right? He didn't like it. He didn't want it because of their anti-gay sentiment, he said. But I didn't hear Michael Sabatino say anything about this Chick-fil-A. Did they change their views on the gay community, Michael Sabatino? Or is it that this is a Yonkers deal that was fostered by, or that is being done by, sure, the Spano administration, or the Spano administration is involved with whoever is bringing this Chick-fil-A here, and you're not going to speak up against that, right? That comes before your LGBTQ community, huh, Michael Sabatino? Right? It's funny how that goes, right? And that should be an example for everyone, whether you're Black, Hispanic, or whatever community you belong to. If one of the members of that community gets into politics, that comes first. The politics come first, not their community, right? You see that, right? Because he has not said a word about this Chick-fil-A. He has not protested this Chick-fil-A, but he was speaking loudly and was really protesting the one that was going to be put on the thruway, which might have been a better idea to put it there, not on Central Avenue. Then they could have created an opening off that Jackson Avenue, I believe that is, over there by just before you get to Sprain Ridge, right? Create that little driveway there so people who are not on the thruway can go and get some Chick-fil-A. And that would have prevented that, from people from, having to have that near their homes. But they don't care. They don't think like that. Michael Sabatino protested it because they're anti-gay. But if you come to Yonkers, it's okay if you're anti-gay. As long as you're making money with this administration, you're all good to go. Right, Mike? Because they got you that job, right? As the director of constituent services, which I spoke about yesterday on my nepotism podcast. And again, folks, if you did not catch that podcast, go check it out. I had the Tony Solari, the father of the boy who was with C.J. Hackett the night that he was struck and killed by Stephen Dolan, joining me on the podcast. He called in and he gave clarity and details of that night. So if you didn't check it out, if you didn't get the chance to watch it. It's very informative. He clears a lot of things up, and he also gives some insight into what's been going on. Some of the, corruption that happens here in the city of Yonkers, some of the corruption that I've been talking about involving judges, DAs, and the connections to the city here of, city of Yonkers and the administration, and why, Stephen Dolan is getting the special consideration that he is. According to the DA, he's probably going to only get 2.5 years out of the 7 that he could potentially get. And even 7 is not much for taking the life of a 16-year-old boy because you were drunk and then you left. But the most surprising and shocking thing to me of last night's podcast, which what I learned just last night myself, was that Tony Solari, when he was speaking with detectives the night it happened down at the police station, he heard a call come through the radio, through the detective's radio, that they got the guy. And so the detective excused himself from the room, doesn't know where he went, what he did, who he called, and then he came back in and they said it wasn't the guy. And it wouldn't be until another 3 days before they'd actually arrest Stephen Dolan. But did they really get him and then allow him to leave so he can have a period where his body can, detox, and get whatever was in his system out and get his, story and strategy and plan together. He pled not guilty on Friday, and the judge refused to raise his bail. So this is nepotism. And nepotism, as I, read the definition in last night's podcast, is not just in regards to family, but friends also. Powerful people giving their friends and family and friends, jobs, opportunities, creating unfair competition, right? So check that out. And again, another form of another example of nepotism. And again, nepotism leads to the hiring of unqualified people, leads to a society, a community where people progress not because of their skills and their talents, but because of their connections and who they know. So you have unqualified individuals in all these positions making decisions that impact the entire city, all of us residents, right? And another example before I get up out of here is the wife of the city clerk, Vinnie Spano's wife, Jamie McGill Spano, the executive director of the YIDA, making over $130,000 or more a year with zero industrial development experience, city planning experience, and we wonder why things like this are happening here. To the folks that were out there protesting, you must know exactly what's happening here in the city of Yonkers, who's doing what. If you are to truly make any difference when you get a Chick-Fil-A coming into your neighborhood and you don't want it. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you, folks. Enjoy your...
Freddie wins.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie.
Hey, folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered, where truth lives and corruption dies. It's all politics, regardless if you want it to be or not. It's politics. What happens here is the result of our elected officials who have to be voted out this year. That's why I keep saying I'm telling everyone to come out and vote. It's very important. Vote, vote, vote. Democrats, you must come out and vote this primary in June. It's important.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie wins.